Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in today. Today's actually the first day of August, so I want to welcome you all to a brand new month. Today is also episode 5 of 30 Minutes with HR. I am your host, Rita Kusi, CEO of KUSI Consulting. 30 Minutes with HR is a 13 pilot program brought to you by KUSI Consulting and the Association of African Universities. And if you've been watching, I just want to thank you for tuning in. This show is currently being streamed live on the Association of African Universities Facebook page. You can catch it live. It's also called AAU TV. Now let's get started. Today, as you can see, it's just you and I. We don't have a special guest. I'm actually calling today's episode our special episode because we are going to be given some tips that we've actually pulled right out of our training programs. KUSI Consulting, we offer consultancy services, HR management services, in addition to training and recruitment. So you're going to get a little taste of what we offer at our practical training sessions. Today's topic, acceptable codes of conduct and behavior during business and workplace dealings. Now, before we get started, I would like you to watch this 5-minute video. And while you're watching, be sure to take down some notes on what you notice. What kind of unethical behaviors do you notice between the co-workers, the characters in this video? Also, at today's show, I'm going to keep mentioning this. Viewers will have a chance to win free consultation services on behalf of KUSI Consulting. So watch this video. So this video is all about unethical behavior at the workplace. I'm sure we all have one or two co-workers that we've come across who just do not do the right things at the office. This video will give you some classic examples of what happens when employees don't really follow the rules or understand the organizational culture within the company. So pay close attention and make sure to share with us in the comment section some of the behaviors that you observe. Also, let us know where you're watching from so that we can give you a shout out. Thank you for joining us today.
What's going on, man?
This is a classic case of some of what takes place in the lunchroom and cafeteria within organizations. So pay close attention.
Yo, what up, dude? How you doing?
Good, man.
Yeah? This Sean Jackson cut?
That's a big off-season move for the Eagles right
Oh, boy, is that great. Joey!
Comments of what you observe while you're watching this video.
Go back to work.
What's going on? Yeah, I miss you too. No, I miss you. Yeah. Oh, no, we're gonna have dinner tonight.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah,
I'm here to meet with the superintendent.
yeah, sweet, that's sweet. Hold on, she gotta sit here and work for a little while. What time is it? Yeah, I'll try to skip it out. Try to leave a little early.
Slight cold today, so apologies if you hear me coughing a bit.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Miss Monica. How are you? I'm good. How are you doing? Good. Here's the company credit card. Can you go ahead and get me some staples, some pencils, and some binders at Staples?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. And it's on the clock, so
Okay.
we paid for it.
All right. I'll
Thank you.
take your time
I
wisely.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Here's your credit card.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
For
it.
tuning in today to 30 Minutes with HR. This is
How did this
episode 5. And today we're discussing acceptable codes of conduct and behavior during business and workplace dealings. sure we've all come across a coworker or two who does not abide by the company rules, regulations, and just are not very ethical in the workplace. So now let's talk about some of the behaviors that
Rachel!
Yeah, what's up?
Yo, you're never gonna guess what I did to Joey.
What did you do?
I pulled a prank on him.
Oh my gosh, what prank did you pull?
I basically removed the faucet and attacked him and got all over his pants.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I kind of want to pull a prank on him too.
Do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Thank you for tuning in. This is episode number 5 of 30 Minutes with HR. Again, be sure to let us know where you're watching from. We are currently streaming live on the Association of African Universities Facebook page. Wow. So I'm sure we've all just watched that video, right? And I'm sure you've noticed several unethical behaviors or acts that go on in the workplace. Now, I'm going to share with you some classic ones that I observed. Feel free to also leave in the comment section what you may have observed. Extended lunch breaks. There's a reason when you begin employment, there's a reason why you're allocated a specific time to take lunch. In a lot of cases, it's either 30 minutes or 1 hour. You have to understand that there's a reason why you're given a specific time. And if you must go over your allowed break, then yes, I think it's best that you seek permission from your supervisor. You know, I think a lot of times we take it in our own hands and we tell ourselves, okay, maybe an extra 5 minutes isn't much, but you know what? You're on company time and that affects productivity. So if you're given 30 minutes, make sure that you report back to your desk or back to work within that, after your time, your lunch break is over. Now, personal call on company time. I personally want to discuss this one because, again, we take matters in our own hands. When you start work, it's not really about you, the individual. You know, you have to respect others who are also within the workplace. And the things that you do on the job, they do not just affect you, they also affect your colleagues as well as your supervisors. So personal calls on company time, it's fine if you have to take a little break. Yeah, step away from your desk. Sometimes we all have emergencies. You might have to just make a call. Just step away and make sure to do that. You know, a lot of what we hear from employers is that employees start the job and a lot of us spend time on social media, right? So all of that adds to taking personal time. If you're on social media while at work, you may want to limit it. I'm not saying it's even okay to do it. It all depends on the company's culture. Do they allow it? Are they fine with you being online? Believe it or not, some companies actually can monitor the usage of your time, right? So whether you're on the internet, they might be able to tell how many hours you're spending on the internet, the specific websites that you're visiting. So you may want to limit using personal time to your advantage because it can cost you your job. Using company credit cards or petty cash. Let's talk about petty cash because within our terrain, I think a lot of organizations allocate petty cash to specific departments. You have to be careful, yeah? We actually, we've had a client tell us before about something that actually happened on the job where one of the accountants was mismanaging and misusing petty cash. And the funny thing is, the accountant didn't feel there was anything wrong with it. I guess because he felt he was in charge of the finances, it was okay for him to dip into the company's petty cash to take care of personal business. And he was actually issuing personal checks to the clients to pay for what he was taking away from the petty cash, which is not allowed. You should definitely not. That's actually stealing. And again, you can lose your job for that. And stealing company property. If it does not belong to you, if you did not enter the workplace with it, then obviously it is not your property. I think we do certain things without realizing the consequences or even realizing that we are doing it. Somebody might say, I'm just borrowing this from I'm borrowing this stapler. I'm going to take it home and bring it back. If it's not yours, then it is stealing and you can be discharged for it. So be careful the items that you do take from the property. Lying. In the video, there was one scenario where the young lady, I think she took, after taking the personal property, she pretty much lied and said that she didn't take it. You know, why would you lie? Some workplaces actually have cameras, you know, so again, you want to be careful. If you are caught in participating in any of what you saw in the video, it can definitely cost you your job. Pulling pranks or jokes on coworkers, it can seem funny at times, but to be honest, it can also turn dangerous, right? Depending on the kind of prank. What if the prank or your joke leads to someone getting injured? What if the person is just not, they're not that kind of person? A lot of people on the job are actually quite serious and they're not open to jokes. So before you do anything like pranks or jokes, pulling pranks on coworkers, you want to make sure that they're even okay with it. But you know, when in doubt, just don't even do it. If you feel that you can offend someone, hurt someone, make them upset, then you definitely don't want to do it. So really, really learn about the company culture and also learn about your coworkers. Learn about their moods before you take matters into your own hands, okay? And so now I want to talk a bit about the good, the benefits or the good that comes with business etiquette. All right, so business etiquette boosts morale and team spirit among coworkers. All right, so whatever you do on the job, you want to make sure that it has a positive effect on those that you work with. Because I don't want to come to work and work with someone who is going to lower my morale or make me feel some kind of way. All right, so business etiquette is a set of acceptable codes of behavior that is accepted of individuals, society, social class, or groups. It's not even something that is limited to just the workplace. I think in general, we all have certain standards that we expect, right? Whether it's from your colleagues, whether it's from the workplace, whether it's within your social class. You know, it's called laws. We all live and abide by laws, all right? So just make sure that you have a very good business etiquette, because bad business etiquette can result in a lot of damage. Now, good business etiquette also builds self-confidence and self-esteem, okay? And once you have a good self-confidence and self-esteem, the sky is the limit. It makes you a happier employee. You know, you're able to approach your employers, ask for feedback. You're able to contribute more to productivity and also to the growth of the organization, okay? It also impacts career development. Again, it increases productivity and efficiency. Consequences of bad business etiquette. Now, business etiquette, obviously, like I mentioned, if you have a bad etiquette, it can have an influence on your coworkers, a negative impact. One thing that I mentioned was pulling pranks. You know, you're not sure the mood of your coworkers. Sometimes you have to feel people out when you are around them in the work environment, because you might come to work in a happy, bubbly mood, but then your coworker might have gone through some situation that they might not be very happy. So you always have to be on guard, yeah? You don't want to have a bad business etiquette because it has a bad effect, not just on your coworkers, but also just on the business in general. So it also, your coworkers and superiors can also lose respect for you when you have a bad business etiquette. You know, if the company culture, if everyone is supposed to be dressed nicely, suited up, and you show up one day, your clothes are not ironed, your hair hasn't been groomed. I mean, these are all part of etiquette, right? Your presentation, even the way in which you speak, like those are all part of etiquette. So you have to make sure that you're very well polished in the workplace. There are some companies that give a little bit more of a leeway or freedom when you work there. I want to use the fashion industry, for instance. You might not need to show up in a suit, you know, or button-down shirt, but I'm sure there is a code of ethics that you still have to abide by, whether it's maybe showing up in a funky African wear, you know, whether it's showing up in designer clothes. So you definitely have to understand the environment where you find yourself. Yeah, and then colleagues feel disrespected, resulting in stress and poor morale. All right, nobody wants to work in an environment where they feel disrespected because of someone's behavior. So before you decide to, adopt bad etiquette practices, please just make sure that you, first of all, don't do it, because it's not about you, the individual. Once you begin working within an organization, it becomes about the group. And if you are affecting those that work around you, that's productivity, and eventually you'll end up losing your job, because no one likes someone who's going to come into the company with bad etiquette. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I will share with you some of the do's and don'ts in the workplace. Now, before we go on break, again, make sure that you let us know where you're watching from, and also at the end of this show, 3 viewers will have a chance to win consultancy services from KUSI Consulting, whether it's career counseling, whether it's interview preparation, or CV development, CV building. We are offering these three services to 3 viewers. So make sure you tag KUSI Consulting in the comment section for a chance to win. We'll be right back. Joining us. This is episode 5 of 30 Minutes with HR. You're watching us live on AAU TV. Now, 30 Minutes of HR is a partnership program between KUSI Consulting and also the Association of African Universities. And if you're watching this special episode, you have a chance to win free consultancy services, compliments of KUSI Consulting. All you have to do is just tag us in the comment section for a chance to be selected. Now you can win a free CV review, an interview preparation, or just HR counseling. All right? So now we're back from break. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts. All right? So now what we're doing, actually, today's episode, we're giving you a taste of what you would experience if you register for any of our trainings. Now, these outtakes are actually from our business etiquette trainings that we offer to management, lower level, mid-level, senior level management. All right, so now, do's. Maintain a professional relationship, all right? You do not only need to have a professional relationship with your superiors, okay, with your supervisor or with the executives of the company. I think you never know who you're going to meet when you're working within an organization. So my philosophy is that you should definitely be nice to everyone. Be kind to everyone, because you just never know. All right, so always try to maintain a professional relationship. And the way that you do that is if you see someone coming in, you're entering the building together, just a simple greeting. Hello, how are you doing? How is your day? You never know what you're doing for someone. So always be kind, always be polite, and maintain a professional relationship with everyone and not just your superiors. All right. So now, positive appearance. I discussed that earlier. You definitely want to adhere to the dress code within your organization. Don't just show up because you woke up and you didn't feel like ironing, so you just throw anything on and you go to work. If that's against your company culture, then you definitely do not want to do that. All right. You have to really know your coworkers in and out when you start a job, because how else are you going to know how to deal and relate to them? And you cannot deal with all coworkers in the same manner. Everybody's different. Everybody's mood is different. The way everyone associates with one another is different. So you really have to get to know your coworkers and also get to know the work environment where you find yourself. All right. So now I've just shared a few of the do's. I'm going to share a few of the don'ts. And this is a popular one. I'm sure we all have someone in the workplace. At my last job, we had several of these people who just, they go around and they just gossip. They gossip, I guess whether it's to be liked, whether it's to be liked by their supervisor or by other colleagues, they'll go and they'll talk about everyone and about everything. And to be honest, who wants to be around someone that's gossiping? It doesn't create a very positive, harmonious workplace. So do not gossip. Just don't do it. If someone even comes to you and starts gossiping, just let them know, I don't participate in that. So please, just take that somewhere. There's also a word called whistleblowing. I'm not sure if many of you have heard it. But whistleblowing is what you do when you're trying to you're trying to get noticed by management. You want to be the star within the company. You want to stand out. So you just go and you snitch on any and everyone. If you see something happening, you go to your boss and you just start snitching. Nobody likes a snitch. Don't go around whistleblowing on anyone. It's not professional. When in the workplace, you have to understand that minding your business and doing your job is really all you're there to do. Mind your business, do your job. The only way you shouldn't mind your business is if it's affecting the individual, and the work that you have been hired to do. Then obviously you want to take matters to HR and have them deal with it. But nobody likes a gossiper, nobody likes a whistleblower, even though sometimes the gossip might be juicy and entertaining, all right? Do not engage in negative behavior. To me, pranking can be a bit of a negative behavior because it's just not professional. It's not a professional way to go about things. Last week's episode, we actually spoke about harassment and intimidation. All of that, those are all negative behaviors. You just don't do it. If it's going to make your coworkers and colleagues feel uncomfortable, just so that you can feel good about yourself, then I just don't do it at all. Mind your business and just do what you're there to be hired to do, and think about progression. How do you grow within the organization? Yeah. Long lunch breaks. I mean, obviously, I mentioned it earlier. You don't want to do it because you're affecting productivity. So we usually film, when we film these episodes, we film in Ghana. And when I was living in the U.S., you literally had to clock in to work. Yeah, because we monitored your time. So if you're late at the end of the month, you know how many hours you were late by within that month, how many hours you took to go to lunch. So in Ghana, I don't think we have that. It's just you get your monthly pay. But there are some companies where you have to clock in when you report to work. You have to clock out when you go to lunch. When you return to lunch, you have to clock back in, and then at the end of the day, you clock out for the day. So there are some companies who actually, they care about productivity, so they put measures in place to make sure that you are not abusing company time. And if you take an excess lunch break, that's company time. Those are not your hours, all right? Respect other people's property. So you don't want to don't steal from the job. It might just, I'm taking one CD from the petty cash, I'll put it back tomorrow. Borrowing is also a form of stealing. If it's not yours, if you didn't bring it in, then do not take it. At my previous job, we all had a refrigerator that we used to share. So, because a lot of people, what they do is they bring their lunch to work, right? So I remember on several occasions, some of my coworkers will complain that their lunch has gone missing because they left it overnight or somebody threw it out. If it's not yours, I mean, why take someone's property? Why would you even want to eat somebody else's lunch? Yeah. So definitely refrain from doing that. You don't want to take any confidential information from off the job. My personal favorite is bring your personal baggage to work. You have that coworker who comes to work and they will tell you about all the negative things going on in their life. Yeah, it's fine if you're friends outside of work, go out for a drink, share everything that you need to share, unload onto someone. But in the workplace, what happens when you bring your baggage, aka baggage, to work is that you are affecting your coworkers, yeah, and also you're affecting them and you're affecting productivity, right? No one wants to come into a workplace and feel like there's this burden on their shoulder. We all have our issues that we go through, in our lives. So sometimes you may just want to leave some of those personal situations at home and just go to work. Just be positive, spread positive energy, be a positive person, because everybody likes to be around someone who exudes confidence and who's also very positive, right? So now we are moving straight into tips and Q&As that it's actually tips that I want to share. There's email and group messaging etiquette. And in a previous show that we had, someone actually mentioned, they said we should have elaborated more on group messaging, yeah? Because email etiquette, for instance, when you're sending an email, yeah, if you don't know who is going to, obviously you want to use dear or to whom it may concern. It's kind of like writing a letter, yeah? You want to make sure that you are addressing the individual in an appropriate manner. You don't want to use all caps, because using caps actually means that you're shouting at someone. You don't want to use red. I mean, just a simple email, straight to the point. Make sure that you add a signature when you're sending emails. In your email setting, you can always add a signature, your name, your title, the name of your organization, your contact details. If you have a website, make sure you add it. If you have a social media pages, make sure you add it. Something really professional. Make sure the name, your email address is even professional. It's not something provocative and just, something that's just very unprofessional. All right. So messaging, group messaging etiquette. I'm sure we all find ourselves in one or two WhatsApp groups here and there. Sometimes we ask to be in the group. Sometimes we don't. Someone just adds us, right? So now you might be in this group, and the group might say, for instance, we have an HR group, right? And we allow members in there. I mean, it's just a group. If you have HR questions, if you have any HR tips, if you're looking for jobs, if you have jobs you want to share, you drop it in there. Occasionally, someone might drop something in the group that has nothing to do with HR. Sometimes the content is even offensive. You don't know who is in this group. You don't know who you're going to offend. So when it comes to etiquette, etiquette also has to apply to sending emails and when you are in a messaging group. All right? So make sure that you take your personal feelings out and think about the individuals that are also around you. Yeah? Because group messaging, everyone in that group, if it's pertaining to work, they are also your coworkers, essentially. All right? So you want to just respect other people. And again, like I mentioned, respect other people's property as well. So now, not abusing company credit cards, not abusing petty cash. Please don't go taking stuff thinking you're borrowing it, because it's stealing. Unless you have been approved, which you can do. If you need something and you feel, you go and ask your supervisor and they'll approve it. Sometimes they might even have you sign a document for it and then you return it. You can do things like that, but do not take matters into your own hand and take company documents thinking it belongs to you. All right. And know your coworkers. I cannot say this enough. Know your coworkers, know their mood, know what makes them happy, what makes them tick. You want to avoid doing the things that is going to put them in a negative mood, because nobody wants to work within those conditions. All right. And know the company culture. Know and understand the company culture. A lot of companies, especially corporate organizations, they're a bit more strict. So there are certain things that they will not be open to you doing on the job, so you have to know what is acceptable. And the way in which employers can also help employees to do this is by giving them a document. What is your organizational culture? What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? Do you even have an employee manual that states what employers can and can't do on the job? And certain things you may even want to post on the property so that it can always employees can always be reminded when they walk past it, oh, this company does not allow, whistleblowing. They do not allow theft, So you have to also make sure that employees are aware, because some employees might feel they are doing something, but then they're not quite aware that it's actually negative, that it's a negative behavior. All right, so now we are coming to an end of episode 5, 30 Minutes with HR. I want to thank you all very much for tuning in to this special episode. If you have watched and hopefully you have tagged us within the comment section, we are going to strategically select 3 winners to receive consultancy advice, aka counseling, HR counseling, also a CV review or interview preparation. And it's free on us. So we look forward to providing these services. Again, this was a special episode because we have taken specific topics from one of our training programs on business etiquette, and we've shared it here with you live today. If you want to know more about our services, and also if you want to know more about the trainings that we offer, then you may want to visit us at www.kusiconsulting.com. You can also send us an email at info@kusiconsulting.com or give us a call 055-408-1727. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Next week we have a special guest, and it's going to be another very, very powerful episode. So I hope to see you next week. Thank you.